Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Tuesday, December the 19th, 2017. My name is Doug McKay. I'm the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market, macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and then we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses for the day. We do create multiple hypotheses, two main hypotheses, two alternative for expansion, but these are our trade plans. We don't know what the market's going to do. Therefore, we have to create plans based on what the auction would look like on once we determine who's in control. We do not know what the market's going to do. Therefore, we do our work prior to the market opening, wait and see, and then execute the plan that best suits the market. This is a subscription room. If you're interested in checking out, send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website. There's no blog. This is not a commercial venture. We do everything live here in the go-to. Then we do live trading analysis during the course of the trading day. So read through the disclaimer, please. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade planning, or your own risk metrics. So taking a look at yesterday. Yesterday was just a nothing day. We gapped up. It looked like we're going to go up and break the 2700 and test into it, but we just basically went sideways the whole day on a very tight range. We had a 3% probability of what they call a normal day. That's where we fail to break the initial balance to the high side or to the low side, and that's what we got yesterday. And there was just nothing to trade unless you were scalping for ticks. There was just nothing to do. A very strong, kurtosis around the VPOC, and we put this weak high in at 98, and we just continue to go sideways. Our low was 91.50. Our high was 98. Looking at the Globex, we've even had a tighter range than we had yesterday in the RTH session. We've got both a weak low and a weak high now. We've got basically a triple top at 98. We have our high from yesterday, a high from opening on the European, and then we've got another top here just put in about 35 minutes ago. So we are going sideways. We are accepting value higher. The Globex VPOC is higher than the VPOC from the RTH session yesterday. So even though we've got a very tight range, they are holding value higher as we just go sideways and consolidate and accept this value higher. But like I said, we have a weak low down here at the 94.50 as well as a weak high at 98. Taking a look at the news, we had building permits that came out at 8:30. They were a beat, and the market did not do anything. It just went sideways. I really think that same thing with housing starts. I really think the market is just waiting on this tax bill, and then it's going to react, good or bad, whether or not it's sell the news or we get another push up and a continuation of this trend. We've got Red Book coming out in 1 minute, but that's not really a big news. At some point in time, Kashkari is going to speak today, and that's basically it for the scheduled news today. So again, unless we hear something of this tax bill or some type of headline news, this market is liable to be very low volume and not do much. We really don't have much participation. in the Globex or yesterday in the RTH, the volume is just completely minuscule, and it's only going to get worse as we move forward the next couple days. A lot of traders are going to be taking Wednesday off for the holiday break. So let's just take a step back and take a quick look at the macro to micro. I like to start with the monthly. I use a 9 EMA, 20 SMA. Those are the moving averages I use on all my charts. And I use my toss paper money for its drawing tools and being able to look for chart patterns and candlestick patterns. You can see we've been following this upward sloping fork on the monthly. We are finally coming up to test the upper band, and a move to the 2710 area will actually test that. But currently we're just having trouble getting into those 2700s at the moment. Going down to the weekly, you can see trend is very much intact, but we are creating a bit of a technical gap here. Prices moved pretty quickly away from the 9 EMA. Can it go more? Absolutely, but at some point in time, it's going to have to come back and retest the 9. Going to the daily. Again, last couple days, just a continuation of a bounce off of the 9 EMA, and trend is very much intact. Doesn't even get challenged on the daily until we get down to the 71 area. Going to the intraday, you can see that we are starting to level out and get a consolidation and get a sideways move for most likely what will be a push into the 2700s before we get any significant pullback. Going to the 30-minute, you can see this consolidation, sideways movement, and just going down to the 5-minute. Now on the 5-minute, I drew a cup and handle. It's not a huge cup and handle because of the size of the range. The primary target, let me just bring it up on the screen here. The primary target on it is 99 and a quarter, 99 and a half, and it'll remain valid until we get below the 96.50 area. But again, it's not huge. The 100% takes us into testing the 2700, but just a solid little pattern there that is still valid. So taking a look at the overnight inventory. Overnight inventory is pretty much 100% net positive. We've got two, small little LVNs, one at 96.75, one at 95.75. The VPOC is not likely going to shift, and as I mentioned, we have a week high and a week low in the overnight session. So starting to move our numbers over, our overnight high, an all-time high, and yesterday's range high is there at 98, and the Globex high. Our overnight low is down at 94.50, which is right on top of yesterday's VPOC. And then we've got this LVN here at 96.75 that is just one tick higher than the value area. This is a very valid value area, so we have to look at trading back inside of it and a possible 80% destination trade down through the value down to the 94. And of course, we're watching this week high and the Globex week low. Any move below there, there's actually this, this low down here in the 91 is not really that strong, but we do have the gap that we left below down here at the 87. So we'll be watching for any breaks below the range and targeting the half gap fill towards that naked close down here at 82. Where's the half range gap? I didn't take a look at that. 91.50 and 82.75. So basically, it's basically not much different, just slightly higher at 87.75. Um, that's about it. I mean, there's not a lot to go on up here. You can see, we look at the big structure, we've broken out again. Now, this, could turn into a island top, but we don't know yet. We're not going to be gapping down this morning, so it's going to be a multiple day island top if it sets up. But again, we've left so many gaps below that the likelihood is we get continuation. We do have this wick on top, which is basically this wick from yesterday's RTH session is our range from the overnight session. So 94.50 up to the 98. So we've basically been auctioning inside of this wick from the prior day. And there's really not a lot of price acceptance beyond that 94.50. It's just, the volume's just so light. So in terms of hypotheses, nothing changes. I don't expect us to gap up again today. I'm looking for an open auction in range, maybe just outside of value, but I'm looking for them to come down into the value area, make a trip through value, come and take the overnight low out and the naked VPOC and take care of the naked close at 94.75. And then I'm looking for them to base and then start grinding again and break the 98, pushing into that 2700. Now, even though I'm not expecting a lot of range, it is Tuesday, and our daily ATR is running at just over 20 points, 20.01. So off of the low overnight of 94.50, our upside daily ATR is all the way up at 27.14.50. So that, just shows that we do have capability to get some move into the 2700s. Here we are. We could come up here and break this 98 and get expansion into the 2700s. Off of the high overnight of 26.98, our downside, our downside daily ATR is down 98 minus 20 is all the way down at 78. And that takes us down into closing that gap and coming down towards that 77.50 area and a trip down to test the range high. So lots of capabilities. There's not a lot of new information that the overnight session. So Hypo 1 open auction down into the 94. Maybe you leave a push down into the 92 area, but looking for buyers to step in and give us continuation. Hypo 2 open auction, leave the gap alone, push up into the 2700, and then somewhere up here in the 2700 find responsive buyers or sellers, I should say, and rotate back down towards that 94 and close in around here, creating a two-day balance around yesterday's VPOC at 94.50. Hypo 3 is a gap and go, and a failure to take out the gap or the naked VPOC, push into the 2700s, and then go sideways up here and just get another gap and go day. I said that I'm not looking for a lot of range, but hypo 3 has to be looking for the possibility of getting as high as 27.14. And I think we would need a catalyst for that, some type of headline news. And then hypo 4 is an open auction in range, just outside of value, failure to take out the 98 or just possibly a false breakout, but a rotation down into the 94, chop between 94 and 91, and then fail and come down, close the gap out, and then push through and come back and close somewhere between the 77 and the 82.75 area. Not a lot to talk about other than that. The gold went and hit that target that we were looking at yesterday morning of the 67.40. It pushed through to 68.60, and then since has come back. It gets added to the current micro composite. Want to see where the 2-day balance is, so we'll just draw a quick little profile around here, simply because we're rotating back inside, and you can see that the sellers, looks like the sellers came in at that 66.70 area, and we're having trouble holding that 67. If we can't get back above the 67, look for them to take a trip back down to test the value area high of the micro composite at the 61.70. We need to hold the 59s, call it 60. We have to hold the 1260. If we don't, a trip back down to balance to pick up the late buyers down here at the 57.58 area. If we can get above the 67 area, look for them to push through, make a new daily high, and test the other side of this balance up here at the 1271 area, and anything above that, look for the continuation back towards that 1280.40. Not going to do Russell this morning. I want to just got to find a way to cut these sessions shorter. Anyway, that's going to complete our pre-market session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.